Bilal Coulibaly's rise from junior club contributor to a standout to a pivotal piece in Mets 92's finals run and then to the 7th pick in the draft, all within about a year, was unlike many prospects that we've seen, and even before that, growing from a reported 5'6" 15-year-old into measurables comparable to some NBA centers is wild in itself. But currently measuring in at 6'8" with a 7'2" wingspan, Coulibaly has premier wing measurements and uses them most on defense. He's a high-level athlete and found a way to stay productive in his role throughout the year. While he's far from a finished product and it'll take some time for him to progress, he's given Wizards fans a good amount to be excited about. The first draw to Bilal as a prospect is what he can do defensively. That's currently where he's made his biggest impact to date, and it'll likely be a big part of what he does throughout his career. He moves well and has the ability to guard multiple positions with those elite dimensions at 6'8" with a 7'2" wingspan. He's improved quite a bit in his technique over the last year and does a good job of containing on the perimeter, using his body to wall off drives and recovering back into plays when beat. I think he was a little overextended defending some of the Mike James, Elie Okobo type of guards, but he did hold his own for the most part. He's flexible enough to navigate a screen, and the fact that they trusted an 18-year-old with some of these responsibilities does mean a lot to me. He's a capable help defender and grew throughout the year in his positioning and ability to make plays in passing lanes and at the rim, and also just serving as that second line of defense in a lot of ways. And in his time playing with the junior club or at the U21 level, his stock numbers were off the charts, putting up a steal percentage of 4.1 and a block percentage of 3.7, a lot of which came from being aggressive in full court presses and taking advantage of his length and tools that were far superior at that level, which of course is never going to be the same in the NBA, but he is capable of creating events and making plays in numerous ways and providing some resistance help side. This part of his game will help him be effective and see the floor early in his career, and even if the other aspects of his game don't come to fruition like you hope they can, you'll have a good chance of sticking around solely being a guy who can match up 2 through 4 and hold his own at the point of attack, and that match with his size is something that every team just can't get enough of.
That led to him falling a little bit down the board into the end of the second round.
La passe derrière n'est pas bonne. Il pose un écran terrible de Colo. Au bout de cette possession-là, Victor au début de la saison d'ailleurs.
Et la Suède qui essaie de donner le ballon intérieur et Coulibaly qui voit la balle.
Thomas Sohan avec de Colo justement.
Il est passé.
Il peut pas ressortir.
La défense est bonne, ça s'est fermé autour de lui.
Now, Bilal's abilities as an athlete help him in a lot of ways, but especially in getting and creating opportunities in transition. He's a high-level athlete with the strides of a long-distance runner and moves up the court in a pretty remarkable way. Around the rim, he's explosive off both 1 and 2 feet, and he came up with several well-timed putbacks in the process. He loves using the Euro step. He can grab and go quickly off the glass, and I'd expect a lot of this to continue to be part of his game. This was also the spot we saw him be his most aggressive offensively at the Pro A level. Still a lot of work to be done with the ball in his his hands, but I like the dynamic he brings here.
Ah, c'est cruel. Tout le monde le voyait dedans, la salle s'était levée. Oh, c'est loin. Bilal Coulibaly. Oh, alors là, voilà.
C'est pas un tir simple. Bilal Coulibaly, il est déjà de l'autre côté, attention.
Oh, ça va vite. Ballon, voilà, bonne anticipation de Bilal Coulibaly. Lui, il doit continuer à travailler. Il peut pas se relâcher.
Now in the half court, the element of Bilal's game that stands out most is his ability to cut and find open areas in a defense. He often cut out of the corner and did a good job of identifying when his man went to double or they turned their back to him. He used that explosiveness to finish with lobs a lot of the time, and playing off of whatever combination of Poole, Jones, Kuzma, and whoever else is there as more of a creator, he should continue to find some easy opportunities there. Now this is often attributed to non-shooting wings where he just call a lot of them great cutters, but for Bilal it's an accurate description for what he does, and when matched with his athletic gifts, it gives an offense a necessary element as a play finisher.
C'est tout ce qu'on souhaite à ces joueurs-là au Metropolitan, c'est évident. Bilal Coulibaly.
Bien joué ça. Le passe est bien joué, voilà.
Bilal Coulibaly. Le système référence, un peu côté, mais se mettre la balle là-bas. Bien joué, voilà. Victor. Oh, la belle passe. La belle passe.
Pasečnik ovdje se pokušava izboriti za poziciju.
La bonne passe, bien joué.
While it's not 100% there yet, his growth as a driver and slasher both at the Pro A and junior club level was a big part of the reason his stock grew so much. He was at his best attacking quickly off the catch or against shifted defenses and using his gifts to get into the paint quickly and finish at a high rate, nearly 64% in the half court at the Pro A level and around 60% in U21. We'll get into some of the greater self-creation questions that are still there in a second, but there are legitimate pieces of a high-level slashing threat that are a big part of his long-term appeal.
Prvi njegovi koševi večeras i prvi košev.
Il est passé, Coulibaly.
Now getting into some more of that self-creation, one of the areas Bilal has struggled most up to this point and why I was a bit hesitant in putting him in that clear top 10 group is his ability to knock down shots off the dribble and his overall assertiveness and comfortability as a creator. He shot a combined 5 for 48 or 10% off the bounce in both Pro A and the junior club level. And while he had some intriguing moments, that's a significantly rough number and he's got a ways to go. He's going to need to really focus on the basics and his footworks and pickups here. He's not someone who's breaking defenders down and getting all the way to the rim in one-on-one situations, and he picked up some avoidable offensive fouls driving downhill and getting a bit out of control or telegraphing that Euro. And overall, just given his role, the turnover percentage was a bit higher than you'd like it to be.
Je m'en occupe.
Il doit y aller là. Coulibaly qui décale ses appuis et faute offensive quand ça veut pas.
Ah non, mais ce troisième carton a été magnifique du côté du CSP et continue défensivement. Par contre,
pour Ryan Brown.
c'est un très bon shoot pourtant. Faute offensive, oui, il est placé.
Coulibaly près de lui. La passe vers Wembanyama et la faute.
C'est ça.
La faute.
Oh, il a peur. Ça a l'air d'aller.
Oh non!
President of G League, you haven't been afraid to take chances and try new things and
Il
experiment.
avait tendu le bras justement pour essayer de le contrer. Fernando, il en a vu d'autres. Hein.
Ah oui. À quoi que des phénomènes.
Now the appeal with him is in a lot of the projection. It's taking these unique pieces of someone who will be able to contribute and have the freedom to explore for a transitioning Wizards team, and continuing to add to his rapid development in his shooting, his assertiveness, and comfortability with the ball in his hands. He's shown flashes of handle upside with these between the legs crosses and hezzies. He's run pick and rolls and gotten all the way to the bucket at times and has a solid first step, and he's even shown some upside as a passer in the pick and roll, particularly on lower levels of play when there's just a little more room for error given the speed of the game. So while there's a lot of work to do, and I'd be surprised if he comes in the league executing a lot of this, he doesn't go top 10 if the bump in frequency wasn't there, and he didn't show it more in the Mets playoff run.
Napada u situaciji kada su bili vrlo blizu izjednačenju.
Napad za goste. Coulibaly.
Rođen 2004. godine. 19-godišnjak dok ovdje.
Coulibaly sam sebi kreira šut.
Now, as a three-point shooter, Coulibaly is still a work in progress despite some encouraging developments. Teams rarely respected him from out there, and the majority of his looks were open to just 15 feet of wide open space, and he's going to have to speed up his release, and that really starts at the base. His shot prep and footwork was pretty inconsistent, and it's hard to envision he'll get some of these off at the NBA level if it looks like this. So just a lot of game speed reps and working on the little things for him to continue progressing as a shooter will be key. And long term, this is going to be huge for, at the bare minimum, giving him a highly valuable NBA role for the next 12 to 15 years. He's also not exactly a complete non-shooter right now. He shot 39% on catch and shoot threes both at the Pro A and junior club level, and the big thing here is just a year prior he shot just 24% on catch and shoot, which is a massive jump on a sizable sample across competition levels that I think we can have some confidence in. Now again, I'm looking more at the mechanics and just the ability to consistently hit shots in the flow of an offense and against more customary closeouts, especially for someone who has had his struggles here in the past. But you can't deny the progress that he's made here percentage-wise, and I think it's at least something that you can hang your hat on.
Bilal Coulibaly à 3 points.
Konaté qui a mis l'épaule, pas de faute. Coulibaly à 3 points.
And then defensively, I think there are a few things he can get better at in terms of technique, screen navigation, and just closing space. Again, he was a little overextended defending some of those more skilled and shiftier guards, all at about 6'2" and under, but there are several things that he can continue to get better at on this end, especially to reach those higher end outcomes as a defender. I think Bilal has some of the most upside in this class. The hesitation for me is just in the offensive projection that is involved in getting him there, not necessarily in him being able to be a contributing NBA player. I think he proved he's already on that trajectory with how he played down the stretch and contributed to a near championship team, but more in reaching that 7th pick, borderline all-star type of upside that he may have. And I really think it's going to come down to wherever he takes the shot first and foremost, and then the self-creation and comfortability with the ball in his hands, which is why I think it's going to take some time, and it'd be unfair to expect him to be a world beater from the start. Now, I can't say I would have had the type of confidence to take Bilal at number 7 from this distance at least, but at that point in the draft, especially for a team like Washington who probably had Anthony Black and Asar Thompson at the top of their board, I like it enough, and they also have the timeline and the reps to allow a prospect like him to shine, and this is the perfect situation to me. Now, we've got another extremely difficult comparison, but I think Mikal Bridges is the blueprint for him right now. Similar physical dimensions, great in transition, great cutter, high-level wing defender, can knock down a spot up. That's the blueprint for him as a player. Mikal has probably ascended into a place offensively at 26 years old that'll be the ultimate outcome for Bilal. So the Suns versions are a little bit more attainable, but as the 7th pick, you got to think Washington thinks that's a possibility. Bilal Coulibaly's combination of immediate impact tools and his defensive and athletic abilities matched with some of his growing upside as an overall offensive player made him a top 10 pick. Now, I'm very curious to see how well he continues to progress because there is still so much he'll need to deliver on long term to provide that value, but he has some of the more compelling attributes of anyone in the draft and already has a path to being a significant NBA contributor.